Um, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. There she
Yeah,
go. What's up, Trinity? How you doing, mama?
yeah.
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Just came back from getting my eats on. So I
Okay.
figured I'd jump in before the itis catches up.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm having an open mic. Um, I'm leaving it up to you. I'm not gonna lead into nothing. What did you want to ask me, or what did you want to bring up? What you want to talk about?
I want to kind of like continue from when we were on sipping tea, when I spoke about how we don't deal with people, but in fact we're dealing with mindsets and we get to choose
Yeah,
based on the examples that are shown. You
yeah.
know, I find that we are hypocritical, by nature,
Human
because
beings.
yeah, we all are because it's about self-preservation, right? And not to mention in our minds we're right. So at times we don't even need anyone to validate our rightness. That's why we
Hmm.
argue so much, right?
Hmm.
So like for me, like what I've learned to do, and I find it so helpful, at times a little disappointing, but helpful nonetheless, is just acknowledging that we are who we are, depending on where we are in life and what we've learned from our past experiences, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And with this being the case, if we want people to accept us as we are, then we really have to deliver the same grace. I think we're missing grace in our
Hmm.
society.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
we're missing empathy, we're missing compassion. And I
I want to
think,
say something about that too, if I could jump in.
go ahead.
Um, just from being a content creator, right, over the last 3 years, and from jumping on various shows and having my own show, I really believe that, like you said, a lot of us as human beings are lacking grace, right? We don't allow people to be human. We don't allow people to make mistakes. We don't allow people to have different opinions. We don't even allow ourselves sometimes
Yeah.
grace, right? But the other thing is we're all looking. A lot of us are looking to be entertained. So like you and me could get up here today and have a real heart-to-heart conversation about grace and forgiveness and acceptance, and somebody say, "Oh, this show is boring as hell," right?
Mhm.
Like they literally want to see us arguing and yelling in order for it to be in order for it to entertain them, and they don't even care about our mental health after we argue. Like they don't care if you and I have a blowout argument. They don't care if we, fight. They don't care about what happens after the camera goes off. It was just, man, that was a wild conversation. That was entertaining, and then they just move on because everybody looking to be entertained
And then you'll find everyone else making videos about that same
about
entertainment.
that same entertainment. So
You
now we
know,
just have a steady appetite for a train wreck or drama or argument or conflict.
yes,
But it
yes.
ain't good when we just talk about healing and great. They don't want to hear all that. You know what I'm saying? So it's a problem, y'all.
You know why? And let me and well, not the whole reason why, but at least the reason for me at one point why, you know, I just couldn't deal with the idea of this healing business, right? One, telling me how to telling me what to do and not telling me how to do it is useless.
Mm,
Like I've been told for years, you got to love yourself. You got to love yourself. And here I am thinking I'm loving myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving
mm.
myself because I'm not allowing no dude, you know what I'm saying, to get the best of me. So
Right.
I'm going to be one step ahead, you know what I mean? And I'm going to make sure that they get got before they try to get me. Why? Because I love myself. Okay. I
Hmm.
love myself. So, I'm going to make sure that even though what I'm going to do today may feel good today,
Hold on,
uh,
Trinity. Let me jump in. Hey, off Travo, man. Listen, you got to respect the ladies in the room. You can have your opinion, but respect the ladies. So let's not call them broads or I see you got biddies. I understand what you're saying there. But look, all I'm saying is, on the stage, man, try to respect the women in the comments. Don't come so hard, what I'm saying, with the calling them outside their name. I know you didn't do it specifically to nobody, but just be respectful. So anyway, keep going, Trinity.
yeah. So it's like, I was inadvertently sabotaging myself
Yeah.
under the guise that I'm loving myself. You know what I'm saying? I thought that by me running away from emotional pain, protecting myself was loving myself. right? Not realizing that I'm creating a mindset that is resenting men. I'm being resentful. So every relationship that I get into, I'm bringing the baggage of all of the crap that is still within me. It was like, if you can imagine a turtle trying to run away from home.
Hmm. Right, right. You can't. I mean, it's your shell.
Right.
You live in it.
Right. So I'm here trying to run away from myself, trying to run away from the pains and trying to run away from the negative thinking that I was conjuring up, and loving myself in that way. Another reason why I think a person doesn't like the idea of healing, the conversations of healing, is that, well, pain can never, someone who's looking through the lens of pain can never see a world of healing.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, this is where we come back to the, we have to accept people as they are. It's the serenity prayer.
Hmm.
We need to be able to accept, because when we don't accept, we're only hurting ourselves. We're only hurting
So
ourselves.
for those
Other
that
people,
don't know, let's give them the serenity prayer. Um, it says, what does it
God,
say? God, give me
grant,
the
uh,
serenity
God, right? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change.
to
The
change the thing
right, the courage to
that I
change
can,
what I can, and
the
the
wisdom to know
um,
the difference.
yeah.
Yeah,
It.
yeah.
I mean,
The serenity, the courage, and the wisdom. Yeah, that's a great prayer.
it's so much deeper than a prayer. The word itself is what that
Yeah,
prayer brings. It brings you a sense of serenity,
yeah,
because you surrender. You surrender your ideas of what everyone should do, what everyone should say, and how everyone should be. And then you just accept them, and you just take from them what you can apply to your own life. And then you just like spit out the bones,
yeah,
and learn from them. You know, I read this book by Neil Donald Goines. I bought it for my grandson. It's called The Little Soul in the Sun, right? And I wanted to read the book before I gave it to before I gave it to him. It's a children's book, and
yeah,
in this book, it's about a soul who's amongst God and all the souls, right? And he's just light. So he wants to experience himself, but he cannot experience himself as himself if he's amongst everyone who's like him,
hmm,
right? So he had to come to earth to experience himself as forgiveness, kindness, and all these other great stuff, right? And so he was like, but how am I going to experience these things on earth? Another soul came and said, okay, well, what I will do is that I will come to earth with you, right? And I will lose myself so much that I will do something so bad so that you will have to forgive me.
hmm,
But just remember that, don't ever forget who you are, because you're going to have to remind me of who I am.
yeah,
So every person who may be deemed as negative, I thank them, because one, they got to go through the ostracization. They got to, I mean, they got to, mean people go through a lot of crap. They
yeah,
go through the crap that caused them to be mean to
hmm,
begin with, right? Because no one ever starts out mean, right?
right,
And, and then being mean throughout life, like, that is not a good way to live. You're not happy when you're mean. You're mean because you have this heaviness inside of your chest.
yeah,
Anger, it's rage,
yeah.
So
We should thank the people who are mean or quote
that's why Jesus
unquote
said, love our neighbor.
love
Before he
your
said,
enemies.
love your enemy.
Yeah,
He said that knowing that Judas was going to do what he was going to do.
yeah. You know what's crazy? I mentioned this, I think, on that same live. My pastor had said that, you know, Jesus had God's plan was for Jesus to die, right? For Jesus to go to the cross. And he said Judas really didn't have to betray him. If Judas didn't, Jesus would have still went somehow, because that was like God's plan for Jesus. But God still allowed Judas to be used to walk with the disciples, to learn everything Peter and everybody else learned, to do the miracles. I mean, he was there the entire 3 years,
Mhm.
and Judas still did what he did. And when you think about it, it's crazy, because it's like God allowed Judas to do that. He could have, if you will, stopped him, or could he? But when
Oh,
you
because
start when you start thinking about, was it the
God.
purpose? When you start thinking about, was it Judas's purpose to do that? That's when it gets deep. Just like you said, the person that made us angry, they said, "Hey, I'm gonna come to Earth and I'm gonna help test
Okay,
you, and
okay,
I'm
so
gonna
here,
need you to be the better version of yourself." You know what I'm saying?
okay, so we are all in this whole entire human experience together, right? And we all have desires, wants, and, needs. And God gave us all freedom. We're all sovereign beings. We must be sovereign beings because we come from a sovereign presence. So everything that God is, we come with
Right,
and we come as. That's why I say God is the creator of good and evil, because you cannot have good in the absence of evil.
right,
Once you erase evil, good no longer exists
right,
because you need something to compare it to. It's the law of relativity,
right,
right? So what happens is that God gathers all the cooperative components together, us decide and choose for ourselves how we're going to behave.
right,
And in each decision that we will then direct us, either continue, like have us continue on that path, or it will redirect us on another path where our freedoms are not impeached, but God's initiative is still being served. We are
right.
all a part of it. We don't have a choice. That's the only thing we don't have a choice is in being a part of something. Just
Participating.
our
We're
existence.
here. The fact that we made it to planet Earth, we have to participate in human life. Like, it's an experience we all have to go through. This is super important because I want to say this right. I did my episode 2 nights ago, and it was called "Speak It and Believe It. Don't Settle."
I,
Speak
I
it.
came I came, but at the freaking end when you were in the hookah bar.
Okay, so you got to rewind and watch it. It was excellent.
Hmm.
Tamika Holyfield was my guest speaker, and she dropped some words on us, some words of encouragement. She had seen my interaction with Marilyn on Kendra's show,
Okay.
and she DM'd me, and she was like, Dave, there's nothing wrong with anything you said. It's nothing wrong with wanting what you wanted. I want to come on the show and encourage people that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So the reason what you said is so important, right? Is that there's no good without evil. There's no evil without good. Is that we all have choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all have choices. And if you think about it, God sends Judas to mess with Jesus. God sends Peter to doubt Jesus and blah, blah, blah. And we don't even have to talk about specifically Jesus. We talk about us. God sends somebody on a show. They say some things about me. It bothers me. Other people ride with it and accuse me of all kind of wild stuff. And the question is, how am I going to handle it? How do I
Up.
handle it on the stage in that moment? Right now, I didn't attack her, but how do I handle it in the comments? I found myself defending myself. I found
Mm-hmm.
myself like, man, y'all really coming at me. And I found myself getting mad as I was defending myself. Right. And the first show I did, I was upset. And I really used my platform to let off some steam, but not only let off steam, to challenge people, but I did it and I was frustrated. So then a week later, when I did Speak It and Believe It, what I ended up saying was, hey David, take yourself out of it, right? Like, let's forget about you. Let's forget about. I went back into servant mode instead of selfish mode. Instead of self-preservation, I went into service. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
all right, you're a servant. You're gonna speak to the people. Okay, so what is God saying to the people? Using your life as an example. God is saying to the people, you create your reality. If you believe that you can
Yeah.
obtain a goal, if you believe that I, God, has something for you, my child, if you speak it, it's going to happen. You're going to create your own reality. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to answer prayers. It's all based on your belief and it's all based on your words.
And
But if you believe the negative, I'm almost done. I'm landing my
uh-huh.
plane.
Uh-huh.
When you believe the negative and when you speak the negative, you're
Mm-hmm.
creating that reality.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says you can't have that, that ain't gonna happen. I'll say, well, no, that's not gonna happen for you because you don't believe it's gonna happen for you. It's gonna happen for me because I believe it. That's what I wanted to say about this whole discussion with me and Marilyn is that
And may I ask
what
you
God
this?
showed me was David,
Oh,
it's more about speaking and believing. Go ahead.
how would you gotten? How would you have gotten there without all of that taking place?
No, I wouldn't have gotten there
Exactly.
like like I've been there, but I ain't been there on this level.
No, no, no,
I
no,
ain't
no, no.
been there with thousands of people,
Exactly. This is
you
what
know,
I'm saying.
having my ear.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. The If you do a certain thing a certain way, you will always yield that certain result.
Certain result. Facts.
Okay. You and I would have never been speaking. Your viewers would have
Probably
never
not.
this this conversation, which is probably needed more today than the
Yeah.
beef that's going on in our yesterdays.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so it's like I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that happened because now it's like voices can be heard. Again, you can't strip the bad away if you want the good.
Right.
You have to be able to stand out. And then to be able to have someone say, oh, you can't have that, and having other people jump on that bandwagon, and then when you get that, oh, I love shutting up. Not I love shutting up 100 people a lot more than I love shutting up one.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Okay.
And you know what's
Um,
funny? I watched Kendra's follow-up show the other night, and I saw when Marilyn jumped on, and she brought me up again, and Kendra was like, "Look, we're not gonna talk about you and Dave's argument." And one thing that was really good about what Kendra said was she said it actually brought out a good discussion, right? And she said, to your point, this is your whole point, Trinity. You know, without that argument, her audience can't hear her say, "This is a good discussion," right? And she said the discussion is around, you know, why can't a man date someone younger than him? Why do you have such a problem with a man's preferences? And then also the discussion was around, I'm gonna say this, what she said was true. Men get older, men's bodies change, right? Some women are out to use men, right? Everybody don't have a uh, good intentions, right? So I could get up there with good intentions, but if I'm not careful, someone that's trying to take advantage of my good heart could try to use me for my money. Could literally say everything I love and try to marry me, try to give me some babies and be
no,
out.
no, 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 no. Because remember, we're talking about manifestation. Okay. So
Yes,
when you're talking about manifestation, you have to include the law of attraction and the law of vibration. Okay, because the law of attraction is governed by the law of vibration, which
right,
makes law of attraction guru never mention. It's really the law of vibration that
right,
we really should be learning about more so than the attraction, because the attraction is going to happen
right. I understand.
based
Yes,
upon, you understand what I'm saying? So, like John 1:1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word
the
was
word
God.
was God.
That says that what you say, the word that was invisible became divisible.
Right.
All right. So you have to also realize that we are dealing with people from a mindset based upon what they want.
Facts.
So someone can be saying Marilyn can say all that she wants to say because it aligns with what she wants,
Right.
but it doesn't have any bearings on what you want and what you get.
Right.
You understand? So certain things will not happen to you because you cannot attract everything. There's
I'm not vibrating and attracting that.
right,
Now
because with
now,
the
now
law of with the law of attraction, you also have the law of you repulse. So you
yeah.
either attracting or you are repulsing.
You know what's
Repulsing.
good? What came out of that conversation was, hey Dave, just triple check your motives, right? Triple check. Like like I know what I want and I know why I want it. But when so many people attack me, I said, is there any truth to any of that? I was like, am I getting caught up in looks? You know, am I getting caught up in youth? Like what's the deal? Like, so if I meet somebody that is 38 or 40 or 42 and they look like they're 28, and they're fertile and they ain't got no kids, am I gonna say no just because they 40? Like,
Of
you know what I'm
course,
saying? Like, I had to ask myself. I
Yeah,
just triple check my
but
motives. So
the fact that you had a range
no, I agree.
speaks it all. You understand? So the fact that and your range is so broad,
Well, let me say something
you
because
know.
this is personal to me, right? I don't want to get into my history of the marriage, the foster children I raised. Like, I
I,
have, I have valid reasons for everything I said that night, right?
mm-hmm.
And people may even joke about the fact that I said I want somebody, with a willing throat, right? What does that mean, right?
Nah.
That was me being goofy. I'm telling the truth. I do like a woman that gives head because I like to give head to my wife. Like I like oral sex in my marriage. So
Honey, let me
I was
tell
being very honest.
you. Listen, okay? Newsflash, okay?
Newsflash. Come on.
We chicks, we talk about that amongst each other. We like a dude that does this, and we like a dude that does
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Guess what? We talk about it in public. Okay, we talk about it in public.
Yeah.
We talk
Yeah.
when we go walking to the store. We're talking about it while we're sitting at the restaurant with each other. So just because you didn't hear them say it doesn't mean that they're not saying it. You understand what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So don't take, who cares?
And see, I want to say something, right? So
Who
so
cares
and I
now?
want them to know this, Trinity.
Why
I want them
do
to
you?
know this. Right. I want them to know this as a man, right? If you ask me what I like, I don't care if I'm on a public forum or private forum. I'm gonna tell you, hey, I want a woman that's fertile, that's beautiful, that's submissive, that has a sex drive and that enjoys pleasing me as much as I enjoy pleasing her, among other things.
Other,
Of course, I want a Christian. Of course, I want a God-fearing woman. Of course, I want somebody intelligent. I didn't put all that out there, but now they're saying all he want is sex, and I'm like, look, so I'm a man. I'm gonna
because
say
you
what
know
I want,
why? No, no, no. You know why? Because
and
that's all they heard.
that's all they
And
heard.
and you're arguing with people who did not hear the whole discussion, even though they were present.
Right? Of course.
You're arguing with people who wants to be right.
Mm.
Leave them wrong right there. Just leave them right there in their wrongness.
Yeah,
Once
I
upon
want to
a
say this too. I made the comment about sex, and some people are like, "Why would you say that?
it's
That
like
can be
I,
rude or whatever." I'm like, listen, man, that's what I like. I'm able to crack jokes. If you get offended, that means you're not for me.
I
Because
was
the
just
people
about to say that.
the
I was
people that are not offended, they hit me in the comments, they hit me in my DMs, and was like, "I loved it. That was hilarious," or "That turned me on." Like that got my attention.
Yeah, because I told my guy about the woman throat comment, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, yep, yeah, that's my dude." I'm like,
Right.
that was
Right.
funny. I thought it was funny, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
and and we as an individual, it's so easy for us to continuously look outside of ourselves, but that's where we are the most powerless. Now we are
Yeah.
subjected, and we're left to, to the hands and desires of other people to do whatever it is that they want to do with our emotions.
Right.
You know
Right.
that that serenity prayer thing that allow me to, like, just give me the strength, to accept. And strength is not power.
Yeah.
Strength is stillness.
Yeah.
Strength is stillness. That's where you find strength, in your stillness, refraining from what comes easy, refraining from doing what's wrong. It's stillness. That's strength,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And that's where our power is in our stillness. So, yeah, there are times I will, like, definitely get agitated about what somebody says, and because why? It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's a human experience, and I know I'm going to learn from it,
Right.
and I embrace it. I,
Right.
like you said, yeah, I give myself grace.
Mm-hmm.
I give myself a lot of grace because I know that I'm only here for the learning experience, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
In and in the meantime, in between time, I'm also here to enjoy the greater things in life, which is connection, bonding, relationships, solitude, a whole lot of solitude, you know,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Mm-hmm. This
just
is this is such an important like conversation. I see the comments. People are asking me, why did it bother me, et cetera, et cetera. People are trying to explain what they thought Maryland's intent was. Here's what I'm gonna say, y'all. Come to the stage and we can talk about it. Me and Trinity just kind of resolved the whole thing, right? And I'll
Yeah.
repeat it. I'll repeat it really quickly. People are going to say what they believe. They're going to speak from their own reality. What a person says does not make it true for you and does not make it your reality, and it may not even have a bearing on your reality. Okay? If I believe one thing and I believe that God is going to bring me something or the universe is going to bring me something, if I'm attracting something, then I'm going to get what I am vibrating and what I'm attracting. You can believe something different. What you believe may not apply to me, especially if I'm vibrating at the right frequency, if I believe the right things, if I'm speaking my words. I'll give you an example. Rappers that talk about death all the time, death comes to them. I hate to say it, but it happens. We can look at Biggie and Tupac. If you talk too much about death, it comes your way. Other rappers that don't talk about death, they talk about women, they talk about money, they talk about, cars. Those things come to them. And I'm just using that as an example, right? Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Our words are super strong. So when
Mhm.
people are saying, why did I get mad, right? What bothered me is when she called me a criminal. If you call me a pedophile and I'm not a pedophile, I have an issue with that. I don't want you putting out into the atmosphere some wrong statement about my character. Now, you could disagree with me like as someone younger. You could disagree with me like as somebody black. You could disagree with me like as somebody 5'8" and up. Whatever you want to disagree with, those are your choices. But when you start accusing me of being a predator and
Attack your
indecent,
character.
attacking my
Attack,
character, that's when I
attack your
have to
character.
speak up. So and
Because you
see, and
know
for and
why?
for those,
Your character
real
has
quick, I'm sorry, Trinity. I'm
yeah.
sorry, Trinity.
That's good.
For those that didn't hear that, you were only listening for entertainment. You were only listening for the fun parts. Oh, it's entertaining to hear her tell him a new one. Oh, it's entertaining for her to drag him. It's entertaining for her to gather him. It's entertaining to see these two people argue, right? But you didn't hear what I heard. You didn't hear the predatory statements and the pedophile statements and the criminal statements and the creep statements. And I'm like, yo, lady, you don't know me. You're not about to get up here and assassinate my character. And I'm just going to sit here and say, oh, well, maybe you're right. No, ma'am. Not at all. So y'all don't have to like choices. Y'all don't have to like preferences. Y'all don't have to like what I'm saying. But if you don't like it, that's okay. That's for you guys. Believe what you want to believe and move on. Let me believe what I believe. But you're not going to defame my character. You're not going to assassinate my character. I'm going to speak up. Now, what we learned, what we talked about, Trinity, is that what did I learn from all of this? What I learned is
Mhm.
without her coming at me and you wouldn't have these talks. Without her coming at me, I wouldn't have done 2 episodes about it, and I wouldn't have followers listening to this, listening to the other episode and the episode before that. Like these conversations wouldn't be happening if she didn't come at me, right? And look, she wouldn't have came at me if I didn't get up there and say my preferences, and not back off and crack jokes and be myself. So I just got up there saying what I said, and people took it the way they took it, but God used it for good. And that's where I'm at
Yeah.
with
And
it. Like,
what else?
that's where I'm at.
Real quick. Real quick. Another thing that is being experienced. You have a black male and a black female holding a deep conversation.
Right,
It can be done. It can be done. No one is degrading anyone.
right,
No one is tearing anyone down. In fact, we are building each other up. These are
right,
the things that people need to see because we have a lot of platforms that are only talking about it, but they don't
right.
have that visual that we need. And this allows us to be that visual,
Mm-hmm,
right? Now,
mm-hmm.
how could it have happened if old girl wasn't herself? It
That's
couldn't
true.
have.
That's true.
Yeah.
So I saw the message. I'm trying to invite you to. Let me see if I can invite you to the stage. Um, hold on. I'm trying to invite this one person. All right, if you can come to the stage, I see your comments. Try to come to the stage if you can, because I would love to just talk about it instead of like responding to um, the comments.
Let
I'm
me
trying
tell
to
you
see if I
my
can add somebody.
real quick. I mean, not real quick. I'm going to just say this real quick, but then I would like to let you do your thing,
Yeah, go ahead.
and I'll just like be quiet because I'm practicing strength. My boyfriend told me I need to practice stillness and silence. Well, I'm quite good at the silence part. I'm not
Okay.
even working it. But no, but for real though, I want to share my story because it'll definitely explain a lot, and I know that it'll help a lot. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So yeah, so when you get that person in, are you still waiting for them?
Well, they're not coming. They said it's simply Mike. She said I'm in the bed. I want to address her comment before you tell your story.
Okay.
I said the thing about my reality. She said, but you have to be realistic. Reality is someone half your age willing to engage in a relationship is likely lacking and searching for something. That's a possibility, okay? People could be lacking, but that's
Her
not what
reality.
I'm attracting.
No, that's her reality. So
Yeah,
she's
that's
right.
not what I'm attracting.
She's right. It is a reality, but it's the reality that they're living.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So when somebody say, "Oh yeah," but you can say whatever you want to say, but reality is, I'm like, oh, good. Now I get a chance to, I get a peek into their world. You
Hmm.
understand what I'm saying? Because when they say, but
Yeah.
reality is, what they're saying is, this is what my reality looks like. So now,
Agreed. And here's the
right?
thing, even going back to Marilyn. Marilyn said that she herself was a hustler. She said that she herself got married at 21 and her husband was 33 and he got what he paid for. And
Mm-hmm.
she said she got, money out of it. See, that's
Mm-hmm.
her reality. So she's
And she's
warning
still
me
getting.
about women, right? And she warned me about women being transactional, saying they only want you for your money, Dave, and all this stuff. And all I said was, because she said what you asking for is unrealistic, and I said unrealistic for you,
Yep.
not for me. Because
I
look,
believe.
there are women raised in church. There are women raised with both parents. There are people out there that are looking for a family, and some of these people, their mother and father had an age gap relationship themselves. They were raised to want to date older men. It's there's a whole reality of people out there that fit with everything that I was saying. So anyway, that's what I wanted to add. Go ahead and tell your story, Trinity.
Oh yeah, good thing you said that because I was about to go into that. But okay, so all right, so I wasn't always like this. All right, I was that Maryland. I was that Maryland chick.
Really?
That's why I can relate to her. That's why I said that's her. Like it's how she sees it. It's also why I say hurting people hurts people. You understand? Because I remember hurting and being the same way. And also it's like when you only know what you know, you really don't know that you don't know what you don't know. You don't know that you don't know what you don't know.
Right. Right.
Okay, so there are times when you know that you don't know, but you don't know that you don't know. And that's where like we don't really realize that. And it's not until we step out of our current situation are we able to turn around and look back because now we're out of it and say, holy crap, that was what that was, right?
Yeah. I think you're buffering, Trinity.
I got married, right? And I married a guy that I used to date.
You were buffering. You got married at what? Would you say you got married? What age? Because you were buffering.
Oh, oh no, no. I said I got married in 2011.
2011. Okay.
Yeah, June of 2011, right? And the guy that I married, he was a great guy. That's why I married him. Because my thing before that was I'd rather rent a U-Haul than file for a divorce. No, it's cheaper to get a U-Haul than it is to get a divorce. Okay? I was already planning for the doom of my marriage before I even asked to be somebody's wife.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay? I because when
Wow.
you're married, that's pretty much what you're doing. Right? So I was already prepared for a divorce to happen before I even had somebody even ask me to be their wife. Okay, so I get with this guy because now here I am panicking. I'm over 30, right? I'm about 35 or so, something like that. I don't remember, but I'm 30 some shit, and I'm like, it's time for me to get married because I'm getting older. And you ready for this? And I'm getting, as the older I get, the closer to death I come. I'm getting. And I know that the biggest sin in the Bible is fornication. That's like a guaranteed trip to hell, right? So I already knew I wasn't going to stop having sex.
Okay.
Right? So I thought that I would outsmart the whole system and just get married just so that I can have sex and not go to hell.
Oh yeah, because it says if you can't, it's better to marry than to burn in lust. That's the
Boom.
verse.
Right? And it's so funny because I never went to church. I wasn't a church goer. I wasn't a Bible reader. All right. I just heard some stuff and retained some stuff. I went to church, but I didn't go to church. I was a
Right.
kid from forced. You know what I mean? And some things were said, and I interpreted it a certain way. And I didn't go to anyone for guidance, and no one came to see if I had questions.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
I was pretty much on that Bible Christian, I know God journey on my own.
Right.
That's why it says, lean not on your own understanding. Yeah, I completely get why now. We
Yeah.
really think ourselves, right?
Right.
So I figured this guy was safe. I didn't marry him because I loved him. You know what I mean? I married him because, well, he was safe, right? He was lovable. I was very fond of him. I really dug the dude, and he was the first guy like I didn't see to have an option.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have a spare, a spare dude in case this one didn't work.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So when I went in with an open heart. I went in, I went in and I was good. Now, 2014, while I was on my way to go with my homegirl to go to a boutique so that she can get herself a wedding dress because she was about to get married in 5 days and her dress wasn't arriving in time. So I was going to take her right, when I got mine. So we got to my house. The ex-husband, he's acting really weird, pacing back and forth, talking stuff like not even being coherent. I really didn't take the time to care because I wanted to go help my friend. I asked them the three major questions. Did you kill somebody? Right? No. Okay. Did you rob somebody? No. Oh, okay. Is someone after you? No. Okay. So I figured I covered the three bases. So whatever is going on when I get back, if it's still going on, I'll deal with it then. But my girl needs me, and I'm going shopping. So I get in her car. I'm going through my bag to make sure that I have everything, and she says, "Why is the police at your door talking to your husband?"
Hmm.
So I'm like, "What?" And then like I look at her, and then I follow her gaze, and sure enough, there are two cops talking to old boy at my door.
Wow.
So hold on, I'll be back. So I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? Long story short, they were there to arrest him for raping a child in my care the summer before.
What?
Yes.
Jesus.
So my whole world blew up. Like everything I knew just completely disintegrated. Because now I'm like, who the hell are you?
Right.
Like now, like I'm stuck because I don't know this guy. Because the guy that I knew,
Right.
the guy that I grew up with, the guy
Right.
whose family lived on my block forever, whose cousins are my kid godmother and godfather. That's how close
Right.
me and his family is. So when that happened, it's like, you know, your whole world just completely goes away.
Right. Right.
Your whole reality is gone and there's just nothing there. Okay, that's fine in a sense, right? I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I'm like, how am I going to tell his daughter when she gets home from school? Because we had custody of his then. She was 16 then.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how am I going to explain this to his daughter? How am I going
Yeah.
to explain to his daughter who was younger then? So then when they both came home from school, I was trying to rehearse it. I had a couple of hours before they got home from school. So I'm rehearsing how I'm going to break the news. So
Right.
when I told them, she was like, oh, his daughter's like, oh yeah, we knew that already.
Wow.
And I'm like, wait, what?
Right. Why ain't nobody tell me?
Because they didn't want me to kick him out. That's what they said.
Mm,
And they, meaning him and her, would have no place to go.
yeah.
So I'm heartbroken. And then when I found out that he was molesting my own daughter, and everybody knew about that too.
That's when somebody got to die.
No. Mm-mm. See, you would like to think that way. Because
Yeah.
I remember we had conversations because I was a victim from the age of 9 to 12. And the only reason why I stopped at 12 was because I attempted suicide.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Mm,
And it wasn't even by the same guy, it was
right.
by three different guys, but they were all boyfriends of the family members who lived here.
Right.
Okay. So, I'm like, yo, dude, if I ever find out, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to bury, like,
Right.
and yo, I had plans, like, in my mind, how it was going to, like, I had it. I knew who I was going to call to help me. But when that happens, there are just things that you just don't factor in. Like, one, you're not prepared.
Right.
Two, there are other parties involved.
Right.
In other
Three.
words,
Three. Are they gonna believe you? Because a lot of
well,
times
not,
people don't
well,
believe the
no,
victims.
no, no, well, no, I know that my parents didn't believe me, but I believed
Right.
my kid
Right.
right away.
Oh, of course.
Just because my parents didn't believe me. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And he knew about, and his mom was freaking being raped by her father for years. Her and her sister.
Yeah.
He knew about those things. You know.
Yeah.
So when everything came out, I couldn't trust myself. I couldn't trust myself to make good decisions for anyone, not even myself.
So.
I blamed myself, even though logic was telling me it's not my fault.
Right.
You understand? Because if it was my fault, a lot of things would not have happened the way that
Right.
it did.
So when did you become this person now where you're more into grace? You said you were a different person before. You were kind of critical and judging or argumentative or whatever you want to call
When I
the
left my
whole.
when I left the body,
Oh, did
and
you have a near-death experience?
and I realized that, holy crap, I am not breathing
What happened?
right.
Can you give me short, like in a 1 minute, what do you have like a near-death experience? What happened?
No, it was more like a spiritual awakening, like a Kundalini awakening. It
Okay.
it it was like because it was like about a year after,
Okay.
and I'm trying to figure out, why am I going through this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And trying to find, like, okay, well, if God is this, then what is that? And I'm trying to just figure everything out because I'm like, all right, I wasn't the greatest person on earth, but damn, I didn't steal. You know what I'm saying? I didn't go around beating people up. I was okay, revengeful. I would hurt people's feelings, but whatever I did, I didn't think I warranted all of that. So I knew that it had to be something more. So then I remember one day, it was June 27th, 2015.
Hmm.
And I was just standing up and I was like, okay, what am I?
Hmm.
Who am I? I really began to contemplate that. So I said, okay, if I had no toes, would I still be me? I'm like, well, yeah. If I had no feet, would I still be me? I'm like, yeah, I wouldn't get very far very fast, but yeah.
Hmm.
Then I had no legs, would I still be me? And I'm like, well,
Right.
yeah, I just can't walk and run and jump on my own. And if I had no fingers, would I still be me? I'm like, yeah. If I had no arms, no hands, would I still be me? And I'm like, well, yeah. If I had no arms, will I still be me? And I'm like, yeah.
So you realize you were more than just your body.
And then I stopped because I knew what was coming next, and I got a little afraid Because the next was going to be, if I had no torso, would I still be me?
Hmm.
So I framed the question, and the question actually was framed like, the, I'm not asking, will the body survive? But if the head and the upper torso were separated, would I still be me?
Right.
And then I realized, I'm like, holy shit, I'm nothing more than a thought. I'm a thought. I'm a thinking being who will be a thought when I leave. Like, I'm
Hmm.
just nothing more than what I think of me and what people think of me, but I am none of those. And then there was this electrical surge starting at the sole of my feet. And then I just felt this surge like coiling upwards.
Hmm.
And it was just getting more intense. And it was just coiling like a snake. But it was electricity, like all energy. And then it got to like my stomach, and I realized that it's still moving upward. And then I got scared, and I'm like, holy shit! Like this is about to hit my heart. I'm gonna die. My heart cannot take this much current. I remember saying that. I'm like,
Hmm.
holy, I'm gonna die because my heart cannot take this much current. And then I just heard the voice say, "Let the body do the work." And I'm like, well, shit. I mean, like I don't have much choice at this point. And
Hmm.
then came and it went to my chest, and then it went up, it coiled up into my throat, and then my whole entire face felt like I was in a bowl of, if you can imagine sticking your head in a water where there's an electric eel.
Yeah.
My whole face felt like that. And
Mm.
then it was like a sensation at the crown of my head. And it just felt like everything just opened up and I just shot out of the body, and I was traveling through like darkness, but it's not really darkness. It's more like absence of light. Does that make sense? It
Hmm.
wasn't dark.
Hmm.
It was more space of absence of light. And then I realized that I wasn't anywhere, but I was an energy field because I felt me, but I didn't have any of this
And that's when you realize you were a spiritual being. You were consciousness.
consciousness. Yeah,
Yeah.
having
And then let's get to the end of it. So when you came back to your body, is that when you became more forgiving and more gracious and more
oh
full of
years.
grace?
No, it took years. When
It
I
took
came back,
years.
that wasn't a good chance. That was a horrible experience
Mm.
because like again, I wasn't into spirituality or anything like that. I was just questioning, like, okay, first let me find out who the hell I am,
Yeah.
so I can figure out, what to do next, so that I don't, make these same stupid mistakes and costly mistakes, and these decisions that can potentially harm other people who are innocent. That was my whole goal. Like I had to put a stop to me.
So yeah, so people are asking like, how is this story relevant? And I'm gonna sum it up. So we started off, first of all, it's open mic, y'all. It's open mic. Tonight, right now, this is not a scripted episode. You can submit your questions in the question box. You can also hit the plus sign to come to the stage. We started, when Trinity came to the stage, we started talking about how life and death is in the power of the tongue, how your words have power and you create your own reality. And we also talked about how um, some people who may come at you and may be used in a negative way, that negative experience can open you up to understand that God is using your life as an example. Basically, it makes you become more gracious. It makes you become a better version of you, depending on how you respond to that adversity. So we got into the whole Maryland conversation, and we got into everybody has a right to their preferences, and how I respond is more important than the actual disagreement itself. How I respond and what I believe about my own reality is more important than the actual discussion itself, and how having a discussion has allowed us to have. Hold up, Trinity, I'm hearing your phone. gotta put me on mute. You got an Android?
No, but I know what to do.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, because it's scraping. But anyway, we're talking about how you can create your own reality. Um, and how your experiences and negative experience can shape your life and make you a better person and make you more gracious, more humble. You realize you're a spiritual being. So it to me is relevant, y'all, and I wanted to give Trinity a chance to share because I like when people come to the stage and share. But the point is, don't let negative things shape you. They're here to help you, but how you respond to them is how your reality is going to turn out and be shaped. And I'm gonna
Oh,
say this: if anybody wants to come to the stage, hit the plus sign. Go ahead.
thank you, thank you.
'Cause
Okay, so how this is relevant is because of this. Um, I vowed, like, I just got tired of hurting. Oh, yeah, I just got tired of hurting, right? So I said, God, if you help me heal, I vow to you, you promise to help me heal. I will help at least one person going through what I'm going through so that they don't have to go through it alone.
mm,
That's when it all came together. I
you
realized
promise to
that
help someone.
I'm not the only one who goes through this. I'm not the only one who is suffering this type of pain and betrayal, you know? And because I went through it all alone and not for a lack of trying to get help, I did. Children's services came involved and they couldn't even get me mental help.
Yeah,
This is the state. The place that they sent me to, Dave, the door was locked. And guess what? It was a church. I
mm,
had my kids with me, and we're going to get our mental help for the first time. We were met by closed doors.
yeah.
I
That's
had no
rough.
choice. I had no choice at that, at some point to turn to God because every turn I turned, man failed me.
Yeah,
I did the suicide prevention hotline. Like, I mean, her school was involved. The principal, the vice principal, the parent teacher coordinator, and one of the paras. We were all on our phones trying to find some place who will accept me without medical insurance, right? And
hmm
my daughter for mental health. No one,
mm,
no one, not one person. I couldn't tell
yeah,
my mom because she was out the country and she was already dealing with her, you know, issues with my family members' health. My siblings and I were not that close, but more importantly, I knew who he was as a person. I knew that hurting people hurt people. So I felt that something really, really bad had to have happened for him to do that
yeah.
because it just didn't seem to be his character. It was out of character for him. So I didn't want to tell my friends because I didn't want them to, like, talk bad about him.
But I'm gonna sum it up like this. So the moral that you really hit was, um, sometimes we go through things so we can help others who are going through it as well
Exactly.
later in life. So
Yep.
I'm taking my experience on the stage as a learning experience. I'm taking it as I create my own reality, but whatever she felt, I can learn from the interaction and I can make sure that I
Yes, sir.
handle it the best way possible. Hey Trinity, I'm gonna talk to Bonnet Boy, so I'm gonna let you go,
Yeah,
Trinity.
so yes, because I'm about to go do some naughty things because I'm of age.
Go do your naughty things, because guess what? You create your own reality.
Yes, 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 yes. I know the reason why I'm a Christian is because I don't qualify to be a saint.
You said what now?
The only reason why I'm a Christian is because I don't qualify to be a saint.
I heard that. Ain't none of us saints. Well, listen,
Flesh
whatever you're about to do, I hope it involves a willing throat. How about that?
probably not, but
Oh shit.
have a good one
All
anyway.
right, Trinity. Take
All
care.
Later.
right, take care.